Send this file?
We need to confirm you're not a robot.
Okay.
Are you a robot?
No.
That's exactly what a robot would say. So can you also tick this box to confirm you're not a robot?
Could a robot not have done that?
No. Type the letters and numbers you see in the picture below.
E7.
It's incorrect. Would you like to try again?
Yes, please. I can't see anything.
Okay, just check every box that has a traffic light in it.
I've checked them.
I'm afraid you failed. Would you like to try again?
Yeah, I've definitely checked them all.
There was one behind the wall.
How would I have known that?
Now tick every box that has a car in it.
I can't see anything. One of those has a car in it.
Toy car.
Right, my right, and middle, your middle.
No.
Can I have another go?
No.
Why?
We've emailed you a code.
Okay, I've got it through. I'm just going to type it in now.
I'm afraid you typed that incorrectly.
Oh.
We'll send you another code.
By email?
No. Look outside your window. Can you see a man?
What?
He has the code. Go and get it from him.
568734.
That's incorrect.
I chased that man for 3 miles. He jumped into the Thames.
You sure it was the right man?
Yeah, I'm sure. 678567.
I'm afraid that's timed out.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your Wednesday afternoon therapy. My name is Andrew Moon, coming to you live from a very, very cold Columbus, Ohio. We got our first proper snow this week, so I'm happy about that. If it's going to be cold, if it's going to be miserable, if we're going to be stuck inside, I'd rather have snow outside. Fortunately, I don't have to go anywhere this week, so happy about that as well. So let me know you can hear me okay. Let's get all that technical stuff out of the way first off, and let us know where you're watching the show from. I'm excited that this is good. This is a topic where I've got the tomatoes already being thrown virtually on this topic today. We're going to spice things up a little bit and cover topics. That's what we do on the show. We cover topics that no one else wants to talk about, and the topics that I think are all pertinent to us as entrepreneurs, and that's what this entire show is all about. So welcome Andrew Crespo Roman to the show from Dallas, Texas, I assume, with DTX. So welcome to the show. Great name. Glad to have you on the show. So if you're watching the show for the first time, please put that in the comments as well. Let me know that this is your first time joining the show today. And if you happen to be watching this on the flip side, on the replay, let me know that in the comments as well. Let me know that you're watching via replay, and let us know where you're tuning in from. because you'll see that we have a global audience that tune in every week, and I'm excited about that. That we actually are providing content that is relevant to entrepreneurs. It's relevant to the time we live in. It is absolutely necessary, and that's what this show is 100% dedicated about. This is the Do What Is Necessary live stream. And if you're not familiar with me, I am the Orange Nomad. I founded a company that is 100% dedicated on taking hustling entrepreneurs and turning them into calm, visionary, unstoppable CEOs. That's what we do at Orange Nomad, and that's what this show is all about, is taking all of the hustle, grind, all of that garbage that is being pitched as the way forward, the way to properly do business. We like to throw that outside the window and be able to challenge everything that we've been taught, and that's really what today's episode is going to allow us to be able to do. So, Andrew, looks like you got a fan club coming from Manchester, UK. Kyle Ridgway says hello. He actually said it's brilliant. So hopefully you like that intro. I know we have a strong contingent of UK viewers every week. So we want to thank you so much for tuning in every week. Thank you, Kyle, for being a return guest as well. That's what this show is all about, is bringing a moment of levity. That's why I like to start the show with a little bit of making us laugh on a Wednesday afternoon, to be able to cut up the work week, to cut up the monotony, and have a little bit of laughter and therapy, and also throw a little bit of education out there as well. So this is all about interactivity. So that's why I do these live streams every week. This is about being interactive, about starting discussions, about, like I said, it's about challenging all of the things that we've been accustomed to being called normal, and we challenge those things on this show. So we're happy to do that. We've been doing this, I think we're at 34, 35 weeks now. So I'm happy that we have a chance to be live and be in front of a global audience again this week. Robert Givens, hey, hang out. I knew you'd be able to join the show. So Robert Givens is a welcome repeat guest on the show. And we're always happy to have those folks who watch us week in and week out and be able to give us feedback that's important to what we're doing, important to the mission, important to that do what is necessary lifestyle. This is a movement for me. This is doing what's necessary for you is different from everybody else, and that's okay. We celebrate that here on the Do What Is Necessary live stream. So let me, obviously everybody can hear me okay, so we're happy about that. So Kyle says, yep, looking forward to the stream. So let's bust right into it. Again, we like to cover topics that it's a little bit clickbaity, I think, but you'll see as we talk into the show this week. I know Andrew Roman said, yeah, it's a bold statement that why we should stop marketing. Let me get rid of our high five, guys. But let's jump into the show. And those of you who are listening on the podcast, those of you who are just watching, tuning in to the meat, let's get into the meat of the show this week. And I thought we would start with a bold statement to why you should stop marketing. And I know that marketing is fundamental to making business go round. Marketing is what propels success. Marketing is what makes the sales, the cash register ring. I totally get that. But how we've done marketing has been challenged for a long time. And I think 2020 really made people stop and reevaluate exactly what they're doing with their marketing. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. So welcome, Scotty Millar, to the show. We're happy to have you. Another friend from the UK. So we're glad to have our UK contingent well represented today. So Jesse Roberts, again, from right here in Columbus, Ohio. Let's welcome you. System's slow, so he might have to leave early. But Jesse, thank you so much for joining us live today. So let's get into the meat of our topic. I went back and I thought about, again, a lot of what I'm thinking about and putting out there right now is things that I've experienced in business and in life, and to be able to share those things that I did well, but especially the things that I did that were not so well. And hopefully that's what I want this show to be able to do specifically today, is to help you with that long, daunting thing we call marketing. And I kind of rewind back to the recession of 2008, and I thought about what that was like. And let me get this rolling here. It's like our slides aren't working, so it's the benefits of live streaming. So let me just bust back here. But I thought about back to 2008, whenever the last recession hit, and I really hadn't done any marketing whatsoever up to at that point. And how many of you actually rely solely on referrals and word of mouth? So hopefully we can work on getting our slides back up here. So drop that in the comments, whether or not you rely 100% on word of mouth and referrals. And that's where I was in 2008. And we didn't lose any business, but we didn't gain anything. So let me just adjust this window real quick here. Again, benefits of doing live. We're doing a couple little bit things differently this week. So this was me in about 2009, 2010. I was dropping, I think if I totaled that all up, I probably spent six figures on, I bought every toolkit, every course, joined every group imaginable out there, trying to figure marketing out. I was an IT business. I really didn't understand marketing. And again, we did well up to that point, but I didn't understand exactly how marketing went. So I started copying what everybody else was doing. I bought a toolkit, started putting out content that everybody else was putting out. And like I said, I joined peer groups, did those things, did all the stuff that people told me marketing should look like. And then I ended up with zero results. And I was frustrated by that. I was frustrated by the fact that how could I spend all this money? The gurus are telling me what marketing should look like. I'm doing direct mail. I'm doing email blasts. I'm doing all of those things that people were telling me were proper marketing. And again, I spent thousands of dollars, wasted countless time doing trial and error, and trying to copy those people who told me what success looked like. But what I found was everybody was doing the exact same thing. And it got to the point where one day where I was meeting with a client, and they actually showed me the exact same template letter that I had sent them from a competing MSP in the same city where we live. And that's when it dawned on me. That's when it dawned on me that something had to change, that the marketing gurus, I don't think quite got this one right. And how many of you have been in that situation? How many of you have spent countless hours and tens of thousands of dollars possibly on marketing only to end up with the exact same thing? And I was extremely frustrated. And I couldn't believe that listening to the gurus, doing all that stuff that they told me to do, that I thought for sure that I would have gotten some type of results. And again, it was just completely frustrating to me. And I think this is a topic that's even more relevant right now, because 10 years later, I still see the exact same letters that I sent back in 2010, 2011, 2012. Those exact same letters are being circulated still as marketing. And I'm disheartened by that, because just to give you for instance, Mark says overwhelmed and ineffective on this topic. So yeah, that's why I think it's relevant. But let me just talk a little bit about a couple clients that we've been helping recently, and things that I've been seeing in some of the forums of groups, peer groups that I belong to. And I'm going to talk a lot about IT companies. I know that's the majority of my audience is IT companies, people that I've knew in the industry. But I read through one comment where an IT company had spent $5,000 over the course of a couple months on marketing and ended up with zero results. Another one that I just read the other day spent $8,000 over 6 months. 0 results, not a single lead. And another one is trying to get pricing on a white paper, and they're getting quoted between $2,000 and $4,000. And just think about that. It makes my blood boil in one sense, but it makes me sad on another sense to see people still spending that kind of money trying to figure out marketing. And they're trying to do the same things that everybody else has been doing. And that, to me, that's what needs to stop. Let's read through the list here. How many of you actually like it when you get cold called in the middle of the day when you're trying to run your business and you get a cold call from a vendor? And I see this all the time as well. I posted in forums how much people dislike that. How many of you enjoy that? How many of you like having your mailbox clogged with random offers that you immediately throw away? Tuesdays for me, that's junk day. I know that everything in that mailbox goes right in the recycle bin. I don't even look at it. How many of you listen carefully to ads that interrupt your favorite TV show or your favorite stream on TV? And this is the one that I like as well. Please put that in the comments too. Do you like these things? Do you like this form of marketing? How many of you like getting a random in-mail on LinkedIn with a sales pitch to buy a stranger's product or service? How many of you actually enjoy that? But yet when I sit down and I talk with people and we coach them, we find out what they're spending $2,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 on. It's this stuff right here. And that it's still rampant, that old school, old hat mentality of marketing that didn't work 10 years ago when I was doing this, and it certainly doesn't work now. And I think, like I said, 2020 leveled the playing field, and it really made people start to evaluate who they want to do business with. And I think that's a good thing because, like I said, it's leveled the playing field and made it easier for the smaller players to get a greater voice in the market. But it's about not doing the same thing, not doing these things right here. And we all hate that. And it's that, to me, I think it's time to stop that old way of doing things. Because what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And it pains me to see this still. And so Andrew said, thank you for all your insights. You got to jump off. So you can watch this on the recording too as well. Marketing has to be connected to sales. So most definitely. Robert said 70% of our marketing comes from me. My words, my mind. Topics aren't original, but my words are original. And I think you touched on what we're going to talk about right now. Because for me, that's when things changed for me when I was introduced to this concept right here. And I picked up a book. I picked up a book called Unmarketing. And how many of you have read this book or are familiar with Scott Stratton? Now, this original release, I still have the book here. It was 2010 when I picked this book up, the published date. It was a first run. But I was introduced and came across, I'm going to have a link in the show notes as well for those of you watching after the fact. Those of you who want to grab this book, I certainly recommend it. Because when I was introduced to unmarketing, that's when things completely changed for me. And I think you'll really appreciate what we're going to talk about right now, Robert. And Andrew, if you, he said, in a perfect world, things would streamline like this. So that's exactly what we're talking about now is unmarketing. And I just want to share with you, I'm not going to go through the entire book, but I'm going to share with you the points that made a strong impact for me and changed everything that we started to do from 2010 onward as far as our marketing. And marketing happens every time you engage or not. So it happens every time you don't engage with your past, present, and potential customers. Unmarketing takes it one step further. It's anytime anyone talks about your company. And this was in 2010. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those things were gaining momentum. And here we are 11 years later. How much more those words ring true, that people are talking about your company, whether you want them to or not. And if they're not talking about your company, what can you do to change that? And that's really what I want to talk about today. I love the point he made. The mouths are already moving. You need to decide if you want to be part of the conversation. And that to me is what things are about. We're going to get into, instead of doing all the traditional things, all the normal things, all the things that the gurus tell you is what successful marketing looks like. Unmarketing is all about engagement. It's all about, it comes naturally. Unmarketing, it comes really naturally to entrepreneurs especially, where we're not being forced to do things that we hate, like cold calling. We're not being forced to do things that aren't authentic. And to your point, Robert, it's authentic, it's personal, it's a way of building lifelong fans, lifelong relationships, and lifelong customers. And when I read that, it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I started to challenge and look at all of the things that I was spending money on. And we started to go the opposite direction. I started to look at everything that we did was about 3 rules. We set up 3 rules of marketing. And how many of you actually agree that business is all about relationships? And that's what changed for me, was when I came to that conclusion, and everything we did was about that. So Andrew said, in a perfect world, everything could work in this order: marketing, sales, operations, fulfillment. Most MSPs have the operations and fulfillment down, but are missing marketing and sales. And that's why we're talking about this today. It says if pull that back up. It says if you're marketing but don't address the sales, you don't have anything to feed the operations, therefore not have any fulfillment. But I think it goes back, and it starts with Robert's comment too. Everything that he's doing marketing-wise is about him, and that's where authenticity. People want to do business with people. People don't necessarily want to do business with logos where it's impersonal. And don't we hate that? Jesse, you hate that LinkedIn marketing piece. I understand TV ads. I hate reading the news feed and getting ads make it hard to click off. So all of that is an inundation. All of that are things that turn us off, but yet we turn right around and we do that to other people. Does that build a solid relationship? Does that actually build lifelong fans? And that for me is when everything changed, when I started making my business about relationships. And that if you believe that business is built on relationships, that's when you have to do. We're not an IT company anymore. We are a sales and marketing company that is about building relationships. And that's when everything completely changed for me, is when we started with that approach, with that mindset. It wasn't about getting more leads and doing lead gen and all of the rest of the stuff. Because I still see that. Somebody, that gentleman who spent $8,000 is now looking for the next thing. He's now looking for what hasn't he tried yet to spend more money on. And that's what needs to stop. If you focus on building relationships, that's when marketing will become much easier. That's when everything changed for me. Let me tell you how I did that. I started making a point every week of taking people that I met online and taking the relationship offline. I started going and having personal coffee meetings with people. And I know we can't do that right now, but I think this can be done in a virtual environment because I'm still doing it. I still believe that building relationships, that business will come eventually. Business will happen if 100% of my focus and dedication is on creating relationships. So one of the other things that we started doing is I started people I connected with on Twitter and connected in all different kinds of industries, and suggested we go meet at Five Guys, a local burger shop, and that we all have lunch together. And that became a monthly thing for about 3 or 4 years. And that group started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that wasn't about selling anything. That was about building relationships. But guess what happened as a result of that? All of those relationships that I established, some of them ended up becoming customers. But guess what happens when you establish relationships with people and they find out that you're a good person, they find out you're good at what you do? Referrals would drop into my lap every single month from that network that I built, from building relationships. But my mindset wasn't there to go sell anything. So those are two things that I suggest to everybody, is take that time to build relationships. And it does not have to equate to a sale. A lot of times it didn't. But that network, those things that you're continually building will benefit you. I promise you. And I can, a direct result of a lot of our success the last couple years with my last business came from those relationships that I established. And funny enough, I still get leads 11 years later from people that I met 11 years ago for IT, people who have needs for IT. And Kyle says definitely a hand clap on all of that. But that's what it had to be. Being authentic means that you focus on what's unique to you. And I think we all have something unique. And in a world where, especially in IT, everybody's doing the same thing, everybody's looking and copying and pasting what everybody else is doing, and those random copycat templates are still out there because the quote-unquote gurus who are still saying what sales and marketing looks like in the IT space are still selling the same templates and letters and marketing that I was used to 11 years ago. And to me, that's what needs to stop. We need to stop doing that kind of marketing. And every single person that I know of, we all have something unique. We all have a unique story. We all have an origin story. We have a why we got into business. We all have those things that make us unique. And I think that's what we need to celebrate are those things that make us unique. And that authenticity needs to come out. And I think that's what's leveled the playing field right now, is that those people who are willing to take that risk and be unique and to put themselves out there, those are the ones that are being rewarded right now. Those are the ones who are seen as thought leaders. Those are the ones that build that trust. And that's a hard thing to do in a virtual space, but it can be done. So Jesse said definitely relationships are everything. He recently attended an intense negotiation course. It's all about relationship. Imagine that. How do you bridge that gap? We all have a trust gap with potential clients, with prospects. And that's what we need to bridge that gap between them even knowing who we are and them trusting us enough to do business with us. And this medium right here, what we're doing right now, is a perfect way to do it. And I think that's what leveled everything out last year, is that this medium, live streaming, being unique, coming out with your own unique voice, those things are becoming much more acceptable. That's what people are looking for. They're looking for something different. And that's what I challenge everybody who's watching this show. And if you're watching this after the fact, find what's unique about you, find what's unique about what you do, and become a category of one. Because then you'll easily realize that if you're a category of one, that you no longer have competition. You no longer have to look and see what's the next guy, what's my competitor doing, what's the guy in 2 towns over doing. Oh, I need to do that too. So Andrew definitely agrees as well. They couldn't agree more. Building relationships, build value, the rest falls into place. But the tough part about this is actual implementation. And a lot of people don't have the wherewithal to do the implementation because it takes time. We talked about it last week. Everybody's on that hunt for more leads. Oh, I need to get more business. But I challenge you, you don't need more, you need better. And you need to market better in order to get better leads. You need to do things differently. You need to do things better to get better customers. And that's what it's all about. So that was rule number 2 that I employ, and I still do this. These are the 3 rules that I 100% adhere to when I relaunched a new business, when I got out of the IT space in 2014 to do something different. And that's what I'm about. It's educating people. All those things that I did wrong, and educating you and challenging you to be different, challenging you to come out with that unique part of what you do. My third rule was to stop acting and marketing like everybody else. And I think that still runs rampant in the IT industry, where everybody looks like everybody else. And I still see that. Everybody's website looks like everybody else. The content that you're reposting on social media is the same stuff everybody else is doing. So think about that. Think about the things that you're doing right now. And I'm not saying if you've never done marketing before, you have to start somewhere. And that's what I did. But you can't get stuck there. You get into marketing, you start the process. It's a process. But you start to ramp up. And a lot of people who take those cookie cutter websites and the cookie cutter marketing never develop. They never branch out and make it uniquely about themselves. And we've all been told that for so long. And I think that's what we need to challenge in marketing. That's what we need to challenge in business. That's what we need to challenge in life, is we've all been told that we need to look and act like other people. We need to talk and act like other people. And that we need to market like everybody else. It's time that we unlearn everything. And that's when everything took off for me, is when I started to unlearn and challenge everything that everybody else has said for years is the way to do things. And we started to unmarket ourselves. Things that I started doing was joining peer groups that are outside of my industry. And I can't tell you, and I can't stress enough how important that is. Because what I found is when you are in industry-specific peer groups, when you're in peer groups and groups that are just about your industry, everybody tends to look at things the same way. And then everybody starts to copy what everybody else does. And it wasn't until I went outside of my industry, started joining other entrepreneurial peer groups, that's when innovation started to happen. That's when I started to get creative in our marketing. That's when really the ideas really started to grow, when I started to see how other people perceived my industry. And that's when we started branching out and doing other things. Lunch and Learns, in-person events, that became our bread and butter. It's hard. It's difficult. It's challenging because we don't want to put ourselves out there. But that's what I started to do. That was what, still to this day, how many of you actually do, before we went into lockdown, how many of you actually regularly do in-person events? And since lockdown, I think it's even easier now because we can do it from the comfort of our own home. That we can put on events that bring out our uniqueness, that bring out creativity, that allow people an inside look into our world and allow us to build trust. How many of us are actually doing those things? When I started doing Lunch and Learns, I started thinking about, okay, the $5,000 that I would have spent on a direct mail campaign to put out a mailer, a templated mailing to 1,000 people who didn't know who I was. What if I started taking that $5,000 and I put it into a live event? So what if you took that $2,000, $4,000, $5,000? What kind of an online event could you put on right now to be different than everybody else? To be different than just another Zoom webinar? Because I think right now it's getting to the point where people are tired. They're tired of the regular Zoom calls, the Zoom meetings. And I think most of you probably would agree with that. But think about that. Think about how you could do things differently. I mean, what I personally would do if I had $5,000 to put on an online event, you can have a virtual Lunch and Learn. And I actually have seen a couple companies doing this where they send out Uber Eats to everybody who registers. They actually buy them lunch. This can be done virtually. But how many of us are thinking outside the box and challenging all of those things that we've been told? So think about those things. So how much of this resonates with you? What would be your number one takeaway of the things we talked about today? And if you're doing something creative, if you're doing something unique, I would love to see it. I would love to be a part of it. I would love to help spread the word. But think about that right now. That was just one area of what I would do differently. If I were trying to market, and specifically an IT business, it's tough to take out that content, but you have the chance to take what's normally a boring topic, but now you have everybody's conscious ears, and eyes right now. And this year, like I said, it's leveled the playing field because everybody's looked at the people they're doing business with last year, the people that may or may not have helped them get through the work from home revolution, the people that they're spending money with. They're challenging who they're spending money with. And I think that is what has leveled the playing field. And again, what part of what we've talked about today resonates the most with you? And you know, to me, that's what I wanted to do, was just throw this topic out there. I know we've gone over our 30 minutes. I kind of figured that I would. But I think it's important. I think people are still challenged with what to do. And that's what I want to help people do, is come up with creative ways to be able to grow their business. Because again, everybody's still trying to do what we did before 2020. Everybody's still trying to market and trying to figure out ways to make themselves unique. And that's really what, again, please put that in the comments. What, you know, if you're watching this after the fact, what was your number one takeaway from today that you are committed to moving forward with and changing inside your business to be different? And again, if you want to pick up the book on marketing, he's gone through a second edition. Everything has changed and nothing is different. So the things he talked about 10 years ago, I was surprised at how much is still relevant. And the predictions he made in the book, how much things have changed, right online what he talked about. So Jesse, thank you so much for tuning in again this week. We appreciate you. We appreciate everything that you do for the Do What Is Necessary movement. But thank you for tuning in. I mean, again, what this show is all about is to challenge, like I said, all of the things that we've been told are normal. And ways of running business, ways of running our life, ways of running everything that we do. And because it's different. Everybody is completely different. That's why that is the Do What Is Necessary live stream. Because what's different, what's appropriate for you, what's necessary for you is different from me. It's different from everyone else. But I think we need to start that discussion on challenging these things inside our life and inside of our business. And a lot of people are hitting the panic button right now because they don't really have a marketing plan going forward for 2021. Everybody's still trying to figure this out. And if you're spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 at a shot and getting nothing from it, I think that's time to do exactly what this show is about, to stop marketing. It's time to stop marketing and actually figure out what to do going forward. And I would be happy to lend an ear, to jump on a call with you, to be able to help you move forward, to be able to help you brainstorm ideas that are different. And I think that's about, what you bring to the table. Everybody brings something unique to the table. And I think that's what we need to celebrate. That's what you need to put out there. So that's why I commend people like Robert who are putting stuff out there on video. I think that's where it's at. So Kyle, thank you so much for tuning in. But if I were going to do two things, just to kind of, in my parting shots, if I were going to do two things going forward, a lot of it has to do around video. Live streaming is, I can't tell you that there's not many people that are doing it. But the success that we have seen from this show, again, is 10 times more than anything else that we're doing right now. And it's still here. We're about 30, I think we're 32 or 33 weeks of doing this live stream. And again, our engagement, our conversations, the relationships, the people that we've been able to help has escalated far beyond 10 times greater than anything else we're doing. A live video and then recorded video. It's unnerving to put yourself out there and to be able to talk to a camera, but I think that's what we need to embrace, and that's what people want. I just saw on a forum this morning before we went live that somebody actually put on a tech forum that he closed business because somebody said that they watched a 3-minute video on his YouTube channel of something he posted 6 months ago. But think about that. That's where eyeballs are at right now. That's people want engagement. People want to learn more about you as a person. And that's what we need to embrace. That's what needs to change with marketing. And it's about that mindset, that everything is about building relationships. And you build relationships by getting conversations started. And that's what this show, we have all kinds of conversations that are getting started because of this show. So Robert, yes, again, kudos to you. I'm watching your progression with video, and the next is live stream. And again, everybody's super scared about it. I was too before we started going live in April. But I just tore the Band-Aid off and let it rip, because I know this format, this needed to happen. I needed to be able to share and be a resource for other entrepreneurs, for other business owners during what was the worst year that I have ever gone through. And I'm sure that you can say the same, but I think our challenges are not over. And that's what I want to continue to push this show forward, to be able to push the envelope forward, to be able to help people. So Robert, to answer your question too, I want to be a resource to be able to help people do live streaming, because what I have found from live streaming is it makes this whole thing about talking to a camera so much easier. And it seems hard. I actually prefer to live stream versus anything just doing recorded videos. This is actually easier. If you're used to doing webinars, we've all have done webinars. This really isn't anything different. Your webinars are all live. It's just different tools. And as you can see, the interaction and engagement is 10 times more. This is 10 times more engagement than you ever get on a webinar. So again, thank you so much for hanging out. A lot of people want to know how to support the Do What Is Necessary movement, who want to be part of Team Orange. So Robert, I'm hopefully you got your sweatshirt. So we have Team Orange merchandise. So if you go to orangenomad.com/merch, you can pick up a hoodie, t-shirts, other stuff to be able to support Team Orange, to be able to support us in being able to do what we're doing moving forward, and being able to embrace the Do What Is Necessary movement. Because like I said, this has been absolute therapy for me doing this show every week. That every week I get to do this show, I get to engage with amazing people all over the world, and this is the highlight for me. For me, it's therapeutic for me to be able to talk and to engage as well, because we're all have been secluded for such a long time. But I think that's what I love about this show. But I want to, again, be able to share everything that we've learned about doing this show, to be able to move forward, to be able to help as many people as we possibly can. So I'm extremely grateful for those of you who are watching, those of you who happen to watch this on the replay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Robert said he's not quite there yet, so we'll see if we can help you out with that. So thanks again for tuning in, and for, again, breaching a subject that I think is extremely relevant. So those of you who happen to be vendors that are watching this show, especially in the IT space, the IT industry needs your help. We need your help helping people to embrace their uniqueness, to help people create things that are different than what you're used to being able to do. And I think that's what we need absolutely more than ever, is for the vendors to get behind doing things differently and helping people come up with live streams like this, coming up with more unique ways of engaging and helping MSPs, IT providers build relationships all over the world. And I've met quite a few vendors that are willing to work with us. Corey, thank you so much. If you haven't connected with Corey Munson, please do so. Corey is one of those vendors who gets it. Corey is one of those folks who are in the IT channel that get the fact that engagement and video and doing these things are the way forward. This is the way of building business that lasts well beyond 2021. And I'm happy to work with Corey. I'm excited to be able to do some more things for he and his partners. But again, this is all about helping people do what is necessary. So Morgan, thank you so much for the kind words. We appreciate everything that those of you who watch week in and week out, we appreciate you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate those of you who have supported us, who've bought merchandise, who've got behind the Do What Is Necessary movement. So And again, I've rambled on for 45 minutes now. We typically try to keep this at 30. But if there's anything that I can do to help you, that I can do to help your company, please reach out on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn, message me. My email's right on my LinkedIn profile. Book a time on my calendar. I am more than happy to help as many people as I can. And that is what I am 100% dedicated and committed to. So again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Andrew Moon, Orange Nomad, coming to you from the Orange Nomad studios right here in Columbus, Ohio. And as I conclude every single broadcast, always stay humble and kind, and always, always, always do what is necessary. I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Have a great day.